Pushing beyond your limits isn't something you do once. It's not a one-time event or some heroic moment of effort. It's a way of life. It's a decision to step into the discomfort every single day and test yourself, to see what you're made of, to find out what's on the other side of your fears, your doubts, and your excuses. And when you do that, when you push past what you thought was possible, you learn things about yourself that you never knew. The first thing you learn is that you're stronger than you think. Most people never find out how strong they really are because they never push far enough. They stop at the first sign of pain, the first sign of struggle. They back off when things get uncomfortable. But the truth is, your mind will quit long before your body does. It's lying to you. It's telling you, this is too hard. You can't handle this. But you can. When you push beyond your limits, you realize that you've been living in a cage of your own making, a cage of self-doubt and fear. But the second you decide to keep going, when every part of you is screaming to stop, you break that cage. You prove to yourself that you're capable of more. And once you've done it, you can't go back. You can't unsee your own potential. You've seen what's possible, and now you're hungry for more. The second lesson is that pain is temporary. The discomfort you feel when you're pushing yourself to the edge, it doesn't last. It feels unbearable in the moment, but it always fades. And when it does, you're left with something much greater: strength, resilience, and pride. But if you give in to the pain, if you quit, that regret, that lasts forever. Pain is the price of progress. There's no way around it. You can't grow without discomfort. You can't get stronger without struggle. Pain isn't the enemy. It's the teacher. It's showing you where you're weak, where you need to improve. And if you can learn to embrace it, to lean into it, you'll find that pain isn't something to fear. It's something to welcome, because it means you're growing. That leads to the third lesson. Limits are self-imposed. The limits you think you have, they're not real. They're stories you've told yourself. Maybe it's something someone said to you years ago. Maybe it's a failure you've carried with you. Or maybe it's just fear disguised as logic. But whatever it is, it's not the truth. When you push beyond your limits, you realize they were never there to begin with. They were walls you built in your mind to keep yourself safe. But safety is an illusion. Comfort is a trap. If you want to grow, if you want to achieve anything worthwhile, you have to break those walls down. You have to stop settling for what's realistic and start aiming for what's impossible. Because impossible is just a word, and it only applies to people who are too scared to try. The fourth lesson is that growth comes from suffering. There's no shortcut, no easy way out. Growth isn't found in comfort, in ease, or in avoiding pain. It's found in the moments when you're on the brink of giving up, when your body is shaking, your mind is screaming, and every fiber of your being is telling you to stop. That's where growth happens. Most people never reach that point. They stop too soon. They never push hard enough to get to the real work, the work that transforms you. Because growth isn't just physical, it's mental, it's emotional, it's spiritual. When you push beyond your limits, you're not just building muscle or endurance, you're building character. You're becoming someone who doesn't quit, someone who doesn't back down, someone who can face any challenge and come out stronger on the other side. And finally, the fifth lesson. Suffering reveals who you are. When you're at your limit, there's no hiding, no pretending. The mask comes off and the real you is exposed. Are you someone who gives up? Someone who makes excuses? Or are you someone who digs deeper, who refuses to quit, who finds a way to keep going no matter what? Pushing beyond your limits forces you to confront yourself, to face the parts of you that are weak, scared, or lazy. And it's not easy, it's not fun, but it's necessary. Because once you see those parts of yourself, you can start to change them. You can start to become the person you've always wanted to be. These lessons aren't just about physical challenges, they apply to every area of life, to your career, your relationships, your goals. Anytime you push beyond what you thought was possible, you grow. You learn, you become stronger, and that strength, that's what separates the winners from the losers, the doers from the dreamers. Pushing beyond your limits is not just a physical act, it's a complete transformation of who you are. It's about tearing down the weak parts of yourself, the parts that cling to excuses and fear, and rebuilding into someone unshakable. And let me be clear, this process is messy. It's brutal. It's not the Instagram highlight reel of people smiling after a hard workout. It's the raw, gritty reality of struggle. It's sweat, tears, self-doubt, and the moments where you're questioning everything. But here's the thing, those moments are where you find your truth. Those moments are where you realize that the life you've been living, the one where you avoid pain, settle for good enough, and stop when it gets hard, isn't living at all. It's existing. It's surviving. And surviving isn't enough. Not for you. Not if you want more out of life. The people who achieve greatness, they don't get there by accident. They get there because they embrace the suffering. They go out and hunt it down. They look for the things that scare them, the things that hurt, and they dive in head first. Because they understand something most people never will. The harder the struggle, the greater the reward. That's one of the most important truths you'll ever learn. Everything you want is on the other side of pain, strength, confidence, respect, success. It's all hidden behind the things you're too scared to face. And the only way to get there is to go through it. To push through the discomfort, the fear, the uncertainty, and the pain. There's no shortcut. There's no easy way. There's only the grind. Think about it. When was the last time you felt truly alive? Not comfortable, not content, but alive. Like your blood was pumping, your heart was racing, and every part of you was screaming, I can do this. I was made for this. That feeling doesn't come from staying in your comfort zone. It doesn't come from taking the easy path. It comes from testing yourself, from stepping into the unknown and discovering that you're capable of more than you ever imagined. But here's the problem. Most people are too scared to even try. They've built their entire lives around avoiding discomfort. They've convinced themselves that they're not ready, that they're not good enough, that it's too risky, and because of that, they never find out what they're truly capable of. They spend their entire lives playing it safe, wondering why they feel unfulfilled. That's why pushing beyond your limits isn't just about growth. It's about breaking free. It's about escaping the prison of fear and self-doubt you've built for yourself. It's about proving to yourself that the limits you thought you had aren't real. Because once you do that, once you push past those imaginary walls, you realize that the only thing holding you back was you. Let me tell you something. It's not the world that's against you. It's not your circumstances, your past, or your lack of resources. It's your own mind. It's the voice in your head that tells you to stop, to quit, to give up. That voice, it's a liar. And every time you give into it, you're letting it win. You're letting it control your life. But when you push beyond your limits, when you keep going even when it feels impossible, you silence that voice. You take back control. You become the master of your own mind, your own body, and your own destiny. And that's where true freedom comes from, not from avoiding pain, but from conquering it. You'll also learn that pushing beyond your limits isn't just about achieving goals. It's about becoming someone you respect. It's about looking in the mirror and saying, I did that. I earned this. I didn't quit. And let me tell you that feeling, it's worth every ounce of pain, every drop of sweat, every tear. Because respect, real respect, starts with yourself. Most people don't respect themselves. They say they do, but deep down, they know the truth. They know they've been cutting corners, making excuses, and avoiding the hard things. And that eats away at them. It kills their confidence, their motivation, and their belief in themselves. But when you push beyond your limits, when you face the hard things head on, you rebuild that respect. You rebuild your confidence, and